Hello out there, and take a look at this little guy, right? Really a small knife today on the channel. Taking a first look at this new release from GEC, and this is a number 6, specifically 060119. People call this the Pemberton, and I'll just show you the tube for this one for a quick minute. They call it the Pemberton, but if you look on the side, there's an extra E, so I don't know if it's Pemberton or Pemberton or how that's really pronounced. But yeah, it's what we have. Since I have been getting into GECs and their line over like the past few months, I was actually not aware that this model existed. There have been 6s that have come out in the past, but not, I guess, for the last couple years. And so when this one was announced, I jumped all over it, and I actually made the purchase before I knew the true specs, and this knife is super small. So let's do some size comparisons real quick, and then we'll get into some of the details. And I'll tell you the big surprise, the real surprise for me, a few minutes after I unboxed the knife. So here is the most relevant size comparison that I think I have. This is the Spyderco Man Bug. The Man Bug is pretty comparable in terms of overall length, and you can see even like the height of the Man Bug exceeds that of the number 6 here. So looking at this knife next to, you know, a Benchmade Mini Griptilian, the Mini Grip dwarfs it. Another good small knife that a lot of people will recognize, CRKT Squid. But lining up the cutting edges, you can see you have, hold on, let's pull this back and really line up the cutting edges. You can see, you know, the actual cutting edge for the GEC is about 1.75 inches. So pretty small. And then here is a 85. Yeah, I think the smallest dimension of the knife, the one that you don't really count on, is the height. You know, the height of the knife is actually very small, and that's where it feels small. And certainly, you know, in hand, it is a little bit small too. But for me, the shock, the big surprise, is that even though after unboxing this, I was like, oh crap, this is way too small. Within like 2 or 3 minutes, I loved this knife. And of the GECs that I've seen and handled, this one really might be my favorite. I really like the Wharncliffe blade. It is small, but if we're looking at it in hand, I mean, you can still 1, 2, 3, so 3 finger, you know, and a lot of these knives, they have like a little bit of what could be the shaping of a forward choil. And so 4 finger here, 2 more full fingers. Even with larger hands, you'll probably be able to get 2 more full fingers. And yeah, so it is small. It's not going to be heavy duty at all, but a lot of GECs aren't. And it is going to probably be a lighter task, more of a gent piece and maybe a secondary carry, but I think it has a good fit in a lot of people's EDCs. And I think visually, I mean, that's really where this knife absolutely kills it. I mean, visually, this thing is just a beauty. So this is the Dark Blue Jigged Bone. There is another version that's coming out like at the same time as this. It's the Muslin Micarta. So that one I think will be available in the next couple days. But just taking a look up close, I mean, just the pop of the blue on this knife is exceptional. It's a very good color, and then you have like the silver bolsters and then the gold lining. It's done really nicely, you know, especially if you look at it from the spine. It's very clean, so I'm just impressed with it. Yeah, didn't think I would like it that much just because of the size. And if they did have one that was slightly larger, I'd like that as well. But this knife actually is going to be a really good one for me. And I might have to inset a picture if I can't get this focused right here for you to see. And even a picture might not work, but what I'm trying to show right now is the swedge on the spine of this knife. Because almost the entire thing is swedge, starting from pretty close to the top right here, and then you have this really tiny swedge that goes almost all the way down, and the execution of it is just impressive. I mean, it is so small that it's almost unnecessary. But it's one of those little details, you know, the little details of the knives that sort of jumps out. And I don't know, I'm not going to say provides value because it doesn't make the knife any better, but it is just an extra step that, I don't know, I think it's pretty impressive. And it does add to the visuals of what is already a very good looking knife. Functionally, this knife is actually pretty easy to open and close. There is a halfway stop. It's a very strong halfway stop. And then it closes nice and strong. The centering on this one was very good. Yeah, easy to pull out. So I know a lot of people like to like lubricate theirs and break them in and do a lot of things to make them smoother. But this one of the ones that I had is actually probably the easiest to pull out. And you do have a pretty good area of purchase for the nail nick. So that's a good thing. One thing that might be an issue, though, is carry, because I specifically purchased this from Knives Ship Free, excuse me, because when you get one from Knives Ship Free, they send you a free little a slip. And what I had figured was that all of the slips that I had would be too big. You know, this slip right here, the one that I carry my my 85 in, is way too big. The knife will just fall out of it. So I needed something smaller. I knew the Knives Ship Free slip was very small, but yeah, I mean, this slip is, even after a day, it's broken in enough that the knife pretty much falls out of it. So I don't know what exactly would be the best carry for this, if you'd get like a custom slip made, or you know, what the best route would be for carrying this knife. Again, this slip is going to work fine, but it's not as like snug and secure as I might like. But I do really like the slip. It is a pretty nice slip. So yeah, a really good offering, I think, from them. $82 is what these run at. The steel on these is the 1095 that they're always using. One thing I will say is that the knife wasn't razor sharp the way a lot of others are. If I don't talk about that in a video, the assumption is just that the knife came super sharp out of the box. This one, I mean, it cuts and it cuts just fine, but it's not as like razor sharp as you might expect, and not really on the same level as some of the other knives that I got from them. So, and even though you do have a thin stock, I mean, the grind is so low that it's really not that thin of a knife compared to some of, actually, yeah, let me bring that one out real quick and then we'll wrap up. So this knife that I showed on the channel the other day, you know, this Rough Rider, let's look at them next to each other. So the stock on the Rough Rider is a little bit thinner, but this knife is just super thin all the way down to the edge, and you know, it's just an easy slicer. And this one I think is just going to have to be touched up and maybe, you know, maybe maintained a little less often once you get that edge though, so that might be good. But regardless, I mean, we're talking about a really lightweight kind of gents piece. You know, not really going to be the big beefy user, so that shouldn't be too big of an issue, because I'm guessing this is going to be for light tasks, and for a lot of people, and myself included in most scenarios, it'll be more of a showpiece than anything else. 1.24 ounces. All right, guys, so that's really it. Not going to take too much of your time. Just wanted to show this thing off and give you an idea of what the size was for this knife, because even though I was really shocked by it, I'm still very impressed by the knife, and I'm really happy with it, but still want to make sure you're aware of just how small this one is. So, all right. Any other questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. Really appreciate you checking it out. Have a good one. Thanks for watching, and take care.